بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا ابن رسول الله، يا رحمة الله ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها، قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. A second for the love of Imams al-Hassan wal-Hussein. A third for the love of Fatima al-Zahra with your loudest voices. There were two classmates that lived together, studied together, went to class together, reviewed their studies together in the city of Najaf. They were both students at the Islamic seminary in Najaf. After studying for a certain period, one of them decided to go to his hometown, back to his hometown in Iran, while the other decided to remain in Najaf, pursue his studies. They had both reached the stage of ijtihad. Both had become jurists. The one that went back to his hometown in Iran went by the name of Al-Shaykh al-Naraqi. The one who remained in Najaf and continued his studies was Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum, who later became the top marja' of his time. But these two friends, these two buddies, these two classmates remained writing to each other for a very long time. They would exchange letters, ask about one another. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum would always ask Shaykh al-Naraqi to come back to Najaf, at least for a visit, at least to visit the shrine of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. After some time, As-Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum discovered that his friend and classmate, Shaykh al-Naraqi, has written a new book. And this book took the Islamic world by storm, called Jami' al-Sa'adat. A book not on fiqh, not on Islamic laws, nor philosophy, nor ideology, nor on contemporary Islamic thought, rather on akhlaq, Islamic manners and ethics. When Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum saw this book, he was very proud of his friend, proud of his classmate for achieving such an amazing achievement. A book like Jami' al-Sa'adat. And indeed, this book is amazing. For those of you that read Arabic and understand Arabic, I advise you to read it. And I believe that it's been translated to other languages, even though the translation will never be as good as the original text. As-Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum was extremely proud of his classmate for writing such an amazing book. After a while, Shaykh al-Naraqi sent news to his friend Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum in Najaf that I would like to come for a visit. But I would like to come for a ziyarah. Of course, Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum is extremely happy that finally, after so many years, his friend is now finally coming for a visit. Shaykh al-Naraqi himself was a marja' as well, yet not the top marja' of his time. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum in Najaf was the top marja'. Shaykh al-Naraqi, being a marja', is not going to travel by himself. His children, his students, his friends, people that work at his office, in fact, even well-known people in his city, merchants, respected people in his community, they came along with him. So you can imagine a Shaykh al-Naraqi, very respected scholar, he came to visit Najaf with at least 30 other people with him. Now it was expected that he will stay at whose house? Who will host him? Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum, his best friend. Yet as Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum, to everyone's shock and surprise, did not even invite a Shaykh al-Naraqi to his house. He didn't welcome him to his house. People told the Shaykh al-Naraqi, where are we going to stay? We thought we were staying at the Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum's house. He said, we'll find a place to stay. Perhaps a Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum is busy. Perhaps he has guests. Shaykh al-Naraqi landed in Najaf. People by the thousands began pouring in to visit Shaykh al-Naraqi. As it's customary, when a scholar visits a city, other scholars, respected members of the community, they go and they visit him at his place of residency. And they also invite him to their house for lunch, for dinner. Everyone invited Shaykh al-Naraqi except the Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum did not invite him. Everyone came to visit Shaykh al-Naraqi except the Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum. The first day passed, second day, third day, a week, 10 days. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum is a no-show. He didn't even show up to visit. Now people began worrying. People began talking. What happened? Is there competition between Shaykh al-Naraqi and Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum? Did something go wrong? Did something happen? Perhaps Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum had heard something. People gave him the wrong message. Finally, his students, they came to him and they told him, Shaykhana, why isn't Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum visiting you? He said, I'm sure he has an excuse. I'm sure he has an excuse. You see, if it was you and me, we'd jump to conclusions. We'd say, you know what? Hell with him. Who cares? I'll even go on Twitter and I'll make a post. I'll tweet about that guy. And I'll jump to conclusions. And Shaykh al-Naraqi said, hold on. He has an excuse. I'm sure he didn't come to visit me. He has an excuse. And in a hadith that everyone knows, احمل أخاك المؤمن على 70 محمل. Make 70 excuses. Make 70 excuses for your fellow mu'min. You see something bad? Make an excuse. Your husband comes home from work, he's a bit grumpy, he doesn't talk, he's not being that open. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't say that he hates you. Don't say that he met another woman. Don't say that there's something wrong, he doesn't love me any longer. Don't jump to conclusions. Give him 70 excuses. We don't even give 7 excuses. We don't even give 2 excuses. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum gave an excuse for Shaykh al-Naraqi. He said, I'm sure he's busy. I'm sure there's something stopping him. And then, if he doesn't come to visit us, we will go and visit him. There's nothing wrong with him. I will go and I'll visit him. I did not forget about my past. I did not forget about our past friendship and relationship. I will go and visit him. They set a date. They asked for an appointment. Now, of course, it was the talk of the town. This is a true story. It was the talk of the town. Everyone in Najaf wanted to know, why hasn't Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum gone to visit Shaykh al-Naraqi? Why is he being so cold with him? Why is he treating him in such a manner? Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum gave an appointment. He said he's more than welcome to come and visit. As we say, Ahlan wa sahlan. Shaykh al-Naraqi, along with his students, his children, his friends, and the whole group with him, they go and they visit Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum. Now when you have a guest that comes over to your house, where do you receive him? Usually where do you receive him? At the door. You go to the door. If he's a special guest, you might even go outside the front of the house and you receive your guest. Shaykh al-Naraqi came in, Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum is not there. He's not at the door. He went inside the corridor, Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum was not there. He went into the large room and he saw Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum sitting all the way down at the corner. Sitting. Shaykh al-Naraqi and his people, they approached him. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum did not even stand up. He did not even stand up. I remember I was saying the story at a place once in London. There were grandchildren of Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum. They were shocked. They didn't know. Is this true about their grandfather? You'll see what happens. As Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum sat at the corner, he did not even stand from his seat. And this is a marja. This is his classmate. This is his friend. He kept on asking him to come to Najaf, to come and visit. He did not even stand. Shaykh al-Naraqi comes, he sits down next to him. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam, how are you? Alhamdulillah. I don't know what they talked about, the weather, the politics. I don't know what is it that they discussed. After 20 minutes, Shaykh al-Naraqi, he said, with your permission, if you excuse me, we will leave. He told them, yes, of course. Shaykh al-Naraqi stood to leave, Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum remained seated. He didn't even stand. He didn't even get up. It's recommended that when you have guests, and unfortunately sometimes we don't know these Islamic mannerisms. It's recommended that when you have a guest, you take him to the door and you walk with him 40 steps. You walk with him 40 steps. When I go and visit people's homes, they come and walk me to the door all the way outside. I tell them, please, you don't have, be certain I'm not coming back. But it's out of ethics, out of akhlaq, to take the person outside. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum remained seated. Shaykh al-Naraqi got up without saying a word, without saying anything, without saying, why are you insulting me in this manner? Why did you forget about our friendship? Why did you forget about our relationship? He didn't say a word. He kindly smiled and he walked to the door. All of a sudden, Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum stands. He stands and he runs. He runs to the door and he hugs his old friend. He hugs him and he kisses him. Everyone is looking at him very weirdly. I mean, why are you behaving this way? Why being cold for so many weeks and then all of a sudden You act this way. He said, listen people, I know I've been acting weird. And I know you've been asking questions about my behavior. But let me explain to you. I'll tell you why I've been treating my friend in this way. My friend, a couple of years ago, you wrote a book called, let's test your memory, Jami' al-Sa'adat. And again, this book was about what? Not law, not philosophy, not logic, not mathematics, not science. It's about akhlaq, manners. I wanted to show everyone that my friend here, when he wrote his book about akhlaq, he was the first person to implement his words. He was the first person to implement his own teachings. I wanted to show everyone what my friend is all about. Sallu ala Muhammad wa Shaykh al-Naraqi, my dear brothers and sisters, his book is effective. His book, Jami' al-Sa'adat, is effective. Even though it's not rocket science, it's not something spectacular, it's a nice book. But why is it effective? Because it came from the heart. Because he was the first to implement it. Because it came from the inside. That's why it's so effective. That's why this book, every speaker like me that wants to come and speak, first he has to go and read that book. He has to memorize it. He has to know exactly what's in it in order to come speak. Why? Because it came from the heart. Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi, everyone knows Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi, very well known. He has a book it's inside all of your homes, I'm positive. It's inside all of your homes, and I'm sure that you put it next to what? The Quran. If you have a copy of the Quran, you have next to it a copy of Mafatih al-Jinan. When Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi, he wrote this book, when he wrote the book Mafatih al-Jinan, he wrote it, of course he didn't have a laptop or an iPad. He wrote it by hand and he took it to the publisher. He gave it to the publisher and he told him to publish this book for me. After a couple of days he came back. He came back to the publisher and told him, give me back the book. I want to revise it a little bit. He gave him back the book. Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi kept the book with him. The publisher waited 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, up to a year. Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi never returned the book. After exactly a year, Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi came back with the book. He told him, now if you want to publish it, you can publish it. He told him, what took you so long? It doesn't take that long to revise the book. Why did it take a year for you to return the book? He said, I have an excuse. The publisher kept on insisting, why didn't you give me back the book? He told him, if you didn't insist, I would not have told you. But the reason why it took me 1 year to return the book, he said this book, Mafatih al-Jinan, it's full of supplications. And it's full of a'mal. For the day, for the week, for the year. It's full of supplications to be recited on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. I thought to myself, that have I recited these supplications? All of them? Or no? The a'mal in this book, have I done them all myself? Or no? He said, I thought about it, and I remembered that there's a couple of supplications in a'mal that I haven't done. How can I publish a book for others to practice this book before me? How can people recite some of these supplications and a'mal that I haven't done myself? I did it all and I came back. Now if you want, you can publish it. Now do you see why in all of your homes there's a copy of Mafatih al-Jinan? Now do you see why you keep Mafatih al-Jinan next to the Quran? It's not by coincidence. It's not by coincidence. This book, again, it's not rocket science, but because it came from a person who controlled himself. It came from a person from a good heart. It came from a person who had his nafs under control. Just like Shaykh al-Naraqi. Shaykh al-Naraqi could have easily said, I'm not going to visit this person. I'm above this. I'm a marja' of my own. I don't need to go and visit my friend. Friendship is good when you have respect for one another. When you don't have respect for one another, hell with that friendship. You could have said this, like many of us would have done. Me and you, if we were in his shoes, we would have done the same. Yet he didn't, because that nafs of his, it was controlled. He controlled it. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. My dear brothers and sisters, we human beings, we're three-dimensional. We have three dimensions to us, to ourselves. Our first dimension is our bodies. This is our first dimension. We human beings were made up of a body. This body means a lot to us. We feed this body. We work on this body. We spend a lot of money on food. We care about our stomach. If our lunch is delayed 1 hour, we'll go crazy. We'll start yelling, shouting, breaking things in the house. If lunch is delayed just a little bit. Why? Because of our stomach. Our lunch has to be on time. Our dinner has to be on time. Our breakfast has to be on time. We take care of this body. We go out to the gym. We work out. Some people go every day. He won't miss the gym. He'll miss salah, but he won't miss the gym. Or she won't miss the gym. They have to go every day at 6 in the morning. You tell them, wake up at 6 in the morning for Salat al-Fajr? No. Salat al-Fajr is not important. But to go out to the gym every day is very important. They go out for a jog or the gym, they work out. Why? To develop a nice body. To develop muscles, big biceps like myself, and to look amazing. This body, we work on it. We wear the nicest clothing. We'll spend thousands of dollars on our clothing. I know some people, if it's not name brand, it doesn't go on this body. If it's not a Rolex, you can't wear it. If it's not Gucci or Armani, you can't wear it. His clothing and her clothing have to be perfect. One lady in another community once told me, Sayyid, I have 100 pairs of shoes. 100 pairs of shoes. I was baffled. 100 pairs? There are some people like this. They spend on this body. This body to them means a lot. A body that you'll be with for only 60 years. Or 70 years. Or 80 years. And then this same body, insects will come and eat it. Animals will come and eat it when they put us down in the grave. My brother one of my brothers, he went and attended a funeral in California, in America. He attended a funeral of a bodybuilder. He said this guy was so huge that they had a hard time carrying his casket. That's how huge he was. His arm was so big, that he had wrote around it, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. My arm, it could barely fit Ashhadu an la, and it stopped. This guy, his arm fit the whole statement. He said they had a hard time carrying this casket. And he was only 25, 26 years old. Why? Because of drugs. Because he was taking drugs. My brother, he said, I thought to myself, God knows how many hours he had spent on this body. How many hours did he spend on this body? But this body is about to be eaten by insects under the ground. This is our first dimension, our bodies. Our second dimension is our minds. This gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. Our minds, our brains. And we also spend a lot of time and money and energy on this mind and brain. How many years do we spend in grade school? 12 years. And then we go on to university, that's another 4 years. And then we go on, for some, they go on to their masters, that's another 2 years. And then some go on for their PhD, that's another maybe 4 years, 5 years. I'm talking about the US, I don't know how it is here. So a minimum you're talking a minimum of at least 20 to 22 years you're working on this brain and on this mind. And that's something good. That's excellent. Some will work and study. I've seen some students, when they have exams, they don't eat, they don't drink, they don't sleep, they can't concentrate, no one can speak to them because they have an exam. They stress so much over their exams. Some people are willing to spend thousands of dollars just to get into a top university. As they should, because this is a gift from Allah and we should use it. We should spend our money and time on it to educate ourselves and to seek knowledge. However, there's a third dimension to us. The first was the body, the second was the mind, and the third is the soul, our nafs. If that's a good translation, the soul. I don't think it's a good translation. Some say the soul, some say the spirit. I think the nafs is a whole other thing. Our nafs. But how much time do we spend on our nafs? How much money do we spend on our nafs? When our body is hungry, we immediately have to feed it. No matter how much it costs. You know, at airports, food is a lot expensive than regular restaurants. Have you noticed that? At airports, food is a lot more expensive. You know why? You know why? Because you can't get out of the airport. People will say if they're hungry, they'll pay how much ever it takes. What are they going to do? Wait until they get to their destination after 5 or 6 hours? Are you kidding? Who's going to win? People will pay for food no matter how much it costs. That's why they take advantage of you. Food becomes more expensive. Everything becomes more expensive at the airport. Because people pay. We pay for our stomach. We pay to satisfy our bodies. But what do we do for our nafs? This nafs that can either take us to heaven, it can pave the road to heaven, or it can take us, la samah Allah, to hellfire. And this nafs that can allow us to have a life of happiness and joy, a pleasant life, or it can lead us to a life of sadness and depression and destruction. قد ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. He who works on his nafs, he'll be happy. And this life and in the nafs, and in the next. He who works just a little bit, just a little bit, he disciplines his nafs. He tames his nafs. He works on it. This person will be happy in this life before the next. He who abandons his nafs, doesn't pay attention to his nafs, lets his nafs overcome him, the evil nafs, this person will lose. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You see, the nafs, our soul, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. The soul, the nafs, can be bad if we allow it to be bad. But if we discipline it and we tame it, it won't be bad. Just like a child. A child, if you let your child do whatever he wants, if you let this child eat whatever he wants, sleep whenever he wants, wear whatever he wants, play with whatever he wants, this child, when he grows up, you know who he's going to become? He's going to become Saddam Hussein. This child is going to become a dictator and a tyrant. Why? Because you didn't discipline him when he was a child. And that's, by the way, that's exactly what happened with Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein didn't have a father. Saddam Hussein was left to do whatever he wants. He started murdering at the age of 13 or 12. Of course he's going to become a tyrant. Of course he's going to become a dictator. But if this child is disciplined when he's young, when he's small, he's tamed, he's taught, this person becomes a man like Ali ibn Abi Talib. This person becomes someone respectful in the community, someone that earns respect and deserves respect. Your soul is the same way. if we let the soul do whatever it wants, whatever it desires, this soul will overcome us and will lead us to destruction. But if we learn to discipline this nafs, and I speak for myself before I speak to anyone else, if we learn to discipline this nafs, this nafs will serve us. This nafs will allow us to become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a hadith, the Imam says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created 3 creations: angels, animals, and humans. To animals, He gave them desires without comprehension and logic, without reason. To angels, what did I say? To animals, He gave them desires without reason and logic. To angels, He gave them logic and reason without giving them desires. And to human beings, He gave them both reason and logic and desires. And then He says, if a human being lets his reason and logic overcome his desires, he becomes greater than angels. But if he lets his desires overcome his logic, he becomes worse than animals. We have the potential. We human beings, we have the potential. We have the potential to become greater than angels, to the point that Allah will tell the angels to prostrate to this human, when the angels prostrated to Adam, not just because of Adam himself, not just because of Adam. Adam is a human being. Adam was a representative of all humans. Some human beings, they can become better than angels, and there are some that can become worse than animals. أولئك كالأنعام بل هم أضل. The Quran says that there are some human beings, they're like animals, rather they are worse than animals. بل هم أضل. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد. It's very ironic that we feed our bodies. Our body needs nourishment. If you don't eat and you don't drink, you'll die, obviously. Read about the statistics, read about the scientific reports. How long a human being can live without water? Probably a couple of, maybe 2 days, maximum 3 days, 4 days, and he'll die. A person can live without food, maybe a maximum a week, I don't know. Maybe a week. He won't die. But after that, if he wants to continue not eating for a week, he'll definitely die. We have to eat and we have to drink. We cater to our body, to our body's needs. But we neglect the nafs's needs. Our soul has needs. Our nafs has needs, brothers and sisters. When we neglect the nafs's needs, we fall in all sorts of problems and troubles. Here in the West, in the United States of America, all over Europe, the worst illness for most people, do you know what it is? The worst illness. The worst illness in the West is depression. And the most medicine on demand at pharmacies, we have pharmacists, maybe they can support us. The most medicine on demand is antidepressants in the West. Prozac and its likes. Did you know that? People want antidepressants. Antidepressants are on demand. In the United States of America, in the year 2009, 20 million people attempted suicide. 20 million people. 1 million of them actually committed suicide. They committed suicide. Why? Why is it that people are resorting to suicide? Why is it? I saw a statistic The happiest countries on earth. Who do you think is the number one, the happiest country on earth? Who do you think? Some people immediately say the United States of America. It's not America. America is not number one. No, it's not Kuwait. America is not number one. And it's not even number two. In fact, America did not even make it to the top 10 list. It's number 16. Who's the number one country that's the happiest? Not Australia. Sorry. Well, after tonight, after hitting this lecture, maybe. But it's not Australia. Nigeria. Nigeria that's going through poverty. Nigeria that has all sorts of epidemics. For God's sake, in Nigeria there's shooting out on the street. But they're happy. They're happy. They're the happiest country in the world. Why is it that the United States is the 16th country and Nigeria is number one? What is it? My dear friends, here in the West, they cater to people's material needs. Material needs. Here you'll find the best restaurants, guaranteed. And you'll find the best clothing. All the fashion designers are here. And you'll find the best cars, the most luxurious cars. And you'll find the most modern technology that you won't find in other places. But is this it? Is life just about it? Food, eating, drinking, wearing, using the most modern technology, Wi-Fi everywhere, 4G. You can't go anywhere disconnected. Is this life? Is it just about this? Is that all that a human being needs? Absolutely not. He's neglected another aspect. He's neglected his nafs. He's neglected the needs of the nafs. This nafs, it needs worship. It needs a relationship with its creator. This is what they neglect in here. This is what they neglect in these sort of countries. They neglect the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They neglect the need to worship. This need of worshiping, it's a human need. It's a biological need. It's a need in our systems. But when you neglect it, when you neglect the nourishment of your nafs, you try to attempt suicide. Some people even commit suicide. Why? Because their nafs has been starving. It's in starvation. It's hungry, but no one fulfills it. When we worship Allah, we're not doing the service to Him. Our worship is not for Allah. It's for us. We need it. That is why when people, they read this verse, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, they say God created us just to worship, just as 5 minutes of salah. This is it. Life is all about praying and fasting. Yes, it's all about praying and fasting. Why? Because it's not for Allah. It's for us. We need it. We need worship in our lives. We need to remain connected to Allah. Because this 5 minutes of salah, it gives us purpose in life. It tells us that life is not all about eating, drinking, working, driving a nice car, having a nice phone, and that's it. Life has a much bigger meaning to it. We have a purpose in this life. That is why every day in salah, at least 10 times a day, we repeat, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It is you that we worship. And it is you that we seek help from. We affirm that we're worshiping you, Allah. Not just worshiping Him physically by the salah and fasting. We can worship Allah in all sorts of manners. This is the purpose of it. When you help people, this is the worship of Allah. Today we were having lunch. One of the brothers was saying that we have an organization that helps. That helps the refugees that come to this country. This is worship. This is a form of worship. When you help those in need, without asking anything for return. This is a form of worship. This is what we learn from our salah. I go back. Our nafs needs nourishment, yet we neglect it. We neglect our nafs. Our nafs goes undisciplined, untamed. And we get ourselves in all sorts of trouble and all sorts of disasters. And we don't know on the Day of Judgment, where do they tell us to go? Through this door or through that door? Do we receive our book in our right hand or in our left hand? We don't know. If we don't tame this nafs. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi afdal as-salatu was-salam, sallu ala Muhammad wa alihi. He says, Al-mu'min nafsuhu minhu fi ta'ab, wal-nas minhu fi raha. A mu'min, a genuine mu'min, his nafs is always tired. His nafs is tired. His nafs that tells him to do bad, that an-nafs al-ammara bis-su', is always tired to a true mu'min. Because it tells him, don't pray, there's no need to pray. What's the point of praying? Yeah, he prays. It tells him you don't need to fast. Are you crazy? Especially when Ramadan is in the summer. For you, you guys are lucky. Ramadan is in the winter. For everyone else across the globe, Ramadan is going to be in the summer. It's difficult. It's difficult, especially in some parts of Europe. 2 years ago, Ramadan was in Europe. In some parts of Europe, the day is 19 hours. They have to fast. Imagine if you're young, you have to go to school, and you don't eat and drink for 19 hours. There are some people that suggested that Ramadan should be like the World Cup. Once every 4 hours, every 4 years. And in only one country, not in the other countries. This is the nafs talking. The nafs says, are you crazy? You don't eat and drink for 19 hours, for 18 hours? Go eat. Go drink. Especially if no one's watching you, go eat. I remember once I was driving to school during Ramadan, and I was a bit late. I was driving, and I saw one of my friends in his car, he's also driving, eating a sandwich. And he thought that no one was watching him. And of course I drove away quickly. I didn't want him to know that I saw him. Then I'm supposed to eat. A young lady, good looking, she wants to wear hijab. And I'm saying, are you stupid? What is that long hair for? That beautiful long hair for? That beautiful physique. Show it to people. Show it to others. You don't need to wear hijab. You're still young. Wait until you're 60, when you're 70, then wear hijab. When no one even wants to look anymore, then wear hijab. This is the nafs. This is the nafs talking. The nafs comes all the time. You're at a store, the nafs says, no one's watching. Pick up that lipstick and put it in your pocket. You go to a nice hotel, they have nice towels, the nafs says, steal the towels. And so on and so on. This nafs, al-ammara bis-su', this is what it does, but not from mu'min. Al-mu'min nafsuhu minhu fi ta'ab. For a mu'min, his nafs is always tired. It always demands. It always demands from him, it commands from him, but he says no. He's always saying no to his nafs. He's always saying no to his nafs. This is a mu'min. There were two scholars living in the same city. One was more knowledgeable than the other. The one less knowledgeable, he was jealous of the one more knowledgeable. And unfortunately, this sometimes happens, even to the best of us, even to us, to scholars, even perhaps to a marja. He might be extremely knowledgeable, but if he hasn't tamed and disciplined his nafs, everything will go wrong. The one less knowledgeable was jealous and envious of the one more knowledgeable. One day they were at a gathering, and they started discussing an issue on Islamic law. They started debating it. The one less knowledgeable, he started insisting on his opinion. He kept on insisting on his opinion, And then he insulted the other scholar, the older, more knowledgeable scholar. He insulted him. He told him, I'm shocked that people even call you a alim, a scholar. He insulted him. The more knowledgeable scholar, whom his opinion was correct, and the other guy's opinion was not correct, he remained quiet. He remained silent. He put his head down for 2 seconds. Everyone was looking at him to see what he's about to do. How is he going to return the insult? How is he going to seek revenge and attack the other scholar? He got up. He went towards the other scholar. He took his hand and he kissed him. And then he left. His students followed him. His students told him, Maulana, what did you do? The man insulted you in front of everyone, and you were right. Your opinion was correct. Instead of replying to him, instead of saying something to him, you could have at least just remained quiet. You got up and you kissed his hand. This person is going to think that he was correct. He said, yes. My nafs also told me to insult him back. And I could have insulted him back. And I knew how to insult him back. My nafs told me, get your revenge. Get your revenge and insult him back. But I thought to myself that this nafs that wants me to seek revenge, this nafs that wants its revenge, this nafs deserves a punishment. How do I punish him? How do I punish my nafs? I get up and I kiss the other person's hand. I punish my nafs. So that it never does this to me again. It never tries to fool me again. I punish it. How can we be like this? I wish we can be like this. The nafs deserves a punishment once in a while. It deserves to be disciplined and tamed. Al-mu'min nafsuhu minhu fi ta'ab. His nafs is always tired. It's tired because it keeps on ordering him to disobey Allah, yet he refuses to disobey Allah. Al-mu'min nafsuhu minhu. We have tomorrow night to see you again, inshallah, and to continue our lecture, inshallah. I don't want to take too much of your time. This is a beautiful community. This is a beautiful event, and I'm very honored to be amongst you. And tonight, these 2 nights are dedicated to whom? To Fatima al-Zahra, salawatullahi wa salamu alayha, to our mother, our role model, our teacher. A mother that raised purified imams. A woman that people have not realized her status. No one realizes her status. We don't know how great of a woman she was. And this woman that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi says about her, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْضَى بِرِضَى فَاطِمَةٍ وَيَغْضَبْ لِغَضَبِهَا. That Allah is satisfied. Allah has satisfied her satisfaction and is angered to her anger. There was a marja, a scholar, he's still there in Qom, Shaykh al-Wahid al-Khurasani, may Allah protect him. I heard him saying that if a mu'min, a believer, wants to reach a very high stage of belief, he will be satisfied to Allah's satisfaction and he will be angry to Allah's anger. If he sees people drinking alcohol, he knows Allah is angry, so he becomes what? Angry. If he sees people using foul language, he knows that Allah is angry, so he also what? He becomes angry. If he sees Allah being disobeyed, because Allah is angry, he becomes angry. And when he sees people doing good, because Allah is satisfied, he is also satisfied with such people. He says a person like this, who is satisfied to Allah's satisfaction and is angry to Allah's anger, this person has reached a very high stage of belief. But with Fatima al-Zahra, Rasulullah does not say Fatima is pleased. Fatima is pleased to Fatima is satisfied to Allah's satisfaction. And she's angry to Allah's anger. He says, Inna Allah yarda Fatima. Allah is pleased when Fatima is pleased. وَيَغْضَبْ لِغَضَبِهَا. And Allah is angry when Fatima is angry. Do we realize her status? Do we realize her position? Why is it that in Hadith al-Kisa, the whole story, you know the whole story of Hadith al-Kisa, when Jibreel comes down upon Rasulullah and Fatima and Amir al-Mu'mineen and Al-Hassan and Hossein, they're all under the blanket, and he says, Allah sends His peace and blessings upon you, and He purifies you. إنما يريد الله يذهب عنكم رجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. When Allah is sending down Jibreel, He tells him, وَمَنْ هُمْ تَحْتَ الْكِسَى? Who is under the blanket? Of course, Jibreel, he didn't know. He didn't know who was under the blanket. He knew, but he wanted to hear it from Allah. Sometimes you know certain things. You know, when you know a story, but when that story happened to someone, you want to hear the story from that person. It comes out nicer from that person. Jibreel wanted to hear it from Allah because it sounds nicer from Allah. Allah told him, هُمْ أَهْلُ بَيْتِ النُّبُوَّةِ وَمَوْضَعَ الرِّسَالَةِ هُمْ فَاطِمَةُ وَأَبُوهَا وَبَعْلُهَا وَبَنُوهَا.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
They are the household of prophethood and prophecy. They are Fatima. He puts Fatima in the middle. She is the centrifuge. Fatima wa abuha wa ba'luha wa banuha. She is the centrifuge. And they all revolve around her. Fatima and her father and her husband and her two boys. This is Fatima Zahra. Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, إنما سميت فاطمة فاطمة لأن الخلق فطنوا عن معرفتها. Fatima was called Fatima calls from the root word in Arabic. It comes from Fatama. Fatama is when you stop the child from breastfeeding. You stop the nursery. The child will no longer breastfeed. You stop him. He abstains from breastfeeding. This is the root word of Fatima. He says, إِنَّمَا سُمِيَتْ Fatima. She was named Fatima because people do not know her position. They have been stopped, their minds have been stopped from realizing who she is. It says Fatima Zahra, salawatullahi wa salamu alayha. When death approached her, only 95 days after the death of the Prophet. And this is the maximum. There's another narration that says 75 days. There's another narration that says only 40 days. When death approached her, when she knew that today is the day, she asked Amir al-Mu'mineen to say her will. Let's turn our hearts towards Medina. Let's spend just our last moments with Fatima Zahra tonight. She told Amir al-Mu'mineen that I have a will to say to you, to ask from you, but I don't want the children to hear it. So ask Al-Hassan and Hussein to leave the house so that they don't hear my will. It was a very sensitive will. It was something very emotional. Ask the children to leave the house so that I could tell you. Al-Hassan and Hussein left the house. Amir al-Mu'mineen comes close to Fatima Zahra and they hug one another for an hour and they cry. And they shed their tears. It was a very sad moment for Amir al-Mu'mineen. Just 2 months ago he lost Rasulullah. The loss of Rasulullah was great for Amir al-Mu'mineen. Rasulullah was his brother and cousin. He never left him, not a single moment for 30 years. From the moment that he was born, that Amir al-Mu'mineen was born, till the moment that Rasulullah died, they were inseparable. It was a major tragedy. And now Fatima Zahra was leaving. This was a huge tragedy upon the heart of Amir al-Mu'mineen. They grabbed one another, they hugged one another, and they cried. And then Fatima Zahra says her will. يَا ابْنَ الْعَامِ إِذَا قَضَيْتْ نَحْرِي فَغَسِّلْنِي وَكَفِّنِّي. Oh my cousin, once I die, wash my body, put on the kafan over me. وغسلني بالليل إذا نامت العيون. and wash my body at night, bury me at night when all eyes have shut to sleep. وادفني بالليل إذا نامت العيون وهجعت الأصوات ولا تشهد جنازتي ممن ظلمني. And don't let any of those that oppress me participate in my burial. وعفي موضع قبري. And don't let anyone discover where my grave is. Hide my grave. وتزوج من بعدي ابن أختي أمامه واجعل لها يوما وليلة ولولدي يوما وليلة. And marry my niece Umama after me. However, my cousin, have one day, one night for your wife, and another day, another night for my children, Al-Hassan wal-Hussein. ولا تصرخ في وجوههما فإنهما أصبحا يتيمين غريبين بالأيام فقد جدهما واليوم يفقدان أمهما. My cousin, don't ever shout in the face of Al-Hassan wal-Hussein. A few days ago, they lost their grandfather. Today, they will be losing their mother. واكثر عند قبري تلاوة القرآن واجلس على قبري فإن الميت يستأنس بالأحياء. Yeah, oh my cousin, and come to my grave, sit next to my head, recite Quran. Amir al-Mu'mineen leaves the house. Asma bint Umayyah says, I came to Fatima. She says that her face was glowing with light. I said, Alhamdulillah, today you look much better, Ya Sayyidati, Ya Fatima. Fatima said, no, Ya Asma, this is the last day of my life. Ya Asma, prepare the food. When my children come, make sure they eat their food. Because if they come and they see me dead, they will no longer eat the food. Asma says Fatima was lying on her bed out in the courtyard, busy with the remembrance of Allah. All of a sudden, the sound of Fatima stopped. She said, I thought that she fell asleep. I went outside and I called Ya Sayyidati, Ya Fatima, but she did not answer me. I went close to her, I started shaking her, answer me, Ya Sayyida, Ya Fatima. No answer came from her, and I found out that she died. Asma says, I threw myself on her, and I said, Ablighi salami ila abiki Rasulullah. Give my salam to your father, Rasulullah. Moments later, the door opened, Al-Hassan wal-Hussein came inside. Immediately Al-Hassan asked, Ya Asma, ayna ummuna Fatima? Where's our mother Fatima? She said, Sayyiday, kula ta'amakuma. Come and eat your food, my sons. Again Al-Hassan asked, Ya Asma, أين أمنا فاطمة? Where's our mother Fatima? Again I said, come and eat your food. كل الطعام. Al-Hasan said, Ya Asma, when have you seen us eat our food without our mother Fatima? متى رأيتنا نأكل الطعام من دون أمنا فاطمة? It was here that Al-Hasan realized what was going on. He went outside to the courtyard. He saw his mother's bed. He went to his mother's corpse. He removed the sheet and he saw his mother dead. He threw himself on the body of his mother and he said, Umma kallimini fa'ana walad. يا أمّا كلميني قبل أن تنفجر مرارتي وأموت. My mother, speak to me before I die. Al-Hussein came in not knowing what was happening, but when he saw his brother crying, he discovered that his mother had departed. You know what he did? Imam Hussein did not throw himself on the body of his mother. He came to her feet and he put his cheeks on the feet of his mother Fatima. He said, Umma kallimini fa'ana waladuki al-Hussein. My mother, speak to me. This is your son Hussein. This is your spoiled son Hussein. Speak to me. Al-Hasan and Hussein rushed to the masjid. No one had known about the death of Fatima. They were crying, they were shouting. The Sahaba, they tell him, Ya ibnay Rasulillah, ma yubkikuma. For what reason are you crying, O children of Rasulullah? They say, Awalaysa qad matat ummuna Fatima. Now our mother Fatima has died. Amir al-Mu'mineen was standing. When he heard this, Amir al-Mu'mineen could no longer stand. He had to sit on the ground. This champion, this warrior had to sit on the ground. بمن أتسلى بعدك يا فاطمة. Who do I have after you, oh Fatima? نفسي على زفاتها محبوسة يا ليتها خرجت مع الزفرات لا خير بعدك في الحياة وإنما أبكي مخافة تطول حياتي لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Raise your hands in dua, brothers and sisters. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا عيبا إلا سترته ولا خوفا إلا آمنته ولا رزقا إلا بسطته ولا شملا إلا جمعته ولا مرضا إلا شفيته ولا غائبا إلا حفظته وأدنيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة لك فيها رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها ويسرتها يا أرحم الراحمين. ولأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء نقرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.